Today, I recreated Cool Mountain from Super Mario 64 in Minecraft. So I have this 3D model here for the basic layout, and I recorded myself playing in the actual game for the details. So I booted up Minecraft, made a new world, and recreated Cool Mountain. Here's how. So I just want to start with saying, I know in the actual game it snows in that map, but I spent hours and hours trying to look for a texture pack where it snows, but I could not find anything. So if you know anything for that about Bedrock Edition, please let me know in the comments. So I tried making my own texture pack, but it didn't go that well because there's a lot of difficulties and I lost all my Minecraft worlds, but I got them back, and I just decided to not use any texture packs. Also, to download this map for Bedrock Edition, click the link in the description. So I'm going to start with the bottom of the mountain and make my way to the top. I started with this part at the bottom with the penguin in the house. I used some weathered copper and it was not waxed. And you're probably thinking, Scorpion Man, it's just going to turn fully teal because it's not waxed. But I have my tick speed on 0, so that means nothing can happen that's around time. So that means grass can't spread, plants can't grow, fire can't die out, and most importantly, copper can't age. So this part is kind of like a big rectangle, and then it has this pointy part at the end, so I made that. I need to make this indent right here, so I could have this big void part, and this is what it looks like right now. It's not the best, but I will improve. I don't know whose quote it is, but they always say, everything good has a start, and this is the start. So I started making the bottom of this ice slide. I wouldn't say slide because, you know, it's not really a slide you'd want to go down. And speaking of slide, no, I'm not going to do this slide. I'm sorry. I know it's the best part of Cool Mountain, but that is a sub room, and I will save that for another video. So I would just do this for the entire bottom of the map. I wouldn't build up. I would just place one block, and I'll work from there. So I started with this part over here that took me 3 tries to get to with the cannon. And then I made this part over here with the parkour and made this over here connect. Made this ice thing right here. So I built this area right here. And for the planks, I decided to use mangrove. Not because it's just new, but because it looks pretty good. I probably should have used jungle or acacia, but if those 2 planks had a baby, I would use that one. And I was done with the bottom layer. And here I decided to make it 4 blocks tall for this area. And then I filled it in with all the weathered copper. And this is where things get really complicated. Well, for me, not for you, because if it was like that, you'd probably click off the video. I decided to use snow tops because as you can see here, the top is snow and the side is copper. Or you would say this type of rock, but for me it would be copper. But when I placed fences on the parts with snow, that wouldn't work out properly, so I had to make a texture pack. So I tried hours, and believe me when I say hours, I meant hours trying to make this texture pack, but I just couldn't do it. It was too much. The textures were all messed up, so I just decided to use some snow blocks. And then I made this little pool area right here. I don't know why it took so long, but I decided on this shape, and I just filled in with water. And for the cannon, I've done what I've used in the other 2 videos with cannons. 2 block tall blue concrete, on the top a black carpet to represent the hole, and on the sides some light blue stained glass paint. And over here, I did the same thing that I did over here, built up a little bit, and I filled in all of the walkable ground on the bottom level. And this is when I realized I had the problem with the fences. So I don't want to bore you with all of that stuff, because that's way too much, so let's just say I use snow blocks instead of snow top. But over here, there isn't actually any snow, but I put snow there, so I had to get rid of the snow top, put snow block, and then for this part right here, I couldn't find any yellowish green, so I just decided to use what was on the wall. And in this case, it was copper, so that's what I used. And for this landing pad, I don't know if that's a proper word, but I used some smooth stone. And I used some mangrove planks for the part that holds the rope. And for these fences, I used some wooden fences. And then I started building this part right here with 2 bridges and the little snow platform. I did a lot of adjustments in the future, so I'm not going to tell you about that. But for the actual bridge, I used some dark oak fences and some dark oak planks. And for this little island right here, I used snow block. And you know how I used weathered copper for this part? Well, this is a different color, so I decided to use some prismarine. And this entire part right here has fences, so I just continued with the dark oak fences fences over there. And then I started building this slope with mangrove planks. And this shape right here is kind of shaped like a banana, but a snow banana. So I made that, and I had to do a lot of adjustments there. And there's these weird patches for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe it's just a lack of snow or something, but for that I use smooth stone. For this big wall right here, I use some prismarine. And then I started building this wall slash ceiling cave right here. I used the mangrove planks and slabs together for this part, and for the rest of it, I used weathered copper. This part took a really long time, and I don't really want to bore you with it, so here's just a sped up version of me doing it. And I noticed it was getting a little dark in the cave, so I gave myself light blocks, which are basically invisible torches that you can place on ceilings. So I put those all around the map, and I will do a lot more later for more darker spots. Unlike in Peach's castle, where you could see the particles from my night vision. It looks so ugly, I'd rather just use light blocks, because I knew they existed back then, so why didn't I use them? And this is a really bad match, but it has this dark oak fence with the mangrove planks. It looked very ugly, but I still did it, because that's part of the map. And here it has half of it as the teal and half of it as the blue. I know these colors are debatable, but whatever. So I just decided to make the middle block right here blue, and then teal will be on the other side. So then I started making the basic shape of this ice slide, or the first half of it, because I wasn't doing this part right now. And I connected the two sides together, and here is the finished ice slide. Looks pretty good, in my opinion, so hope you like it too. And then I made this dark oak bridge over here, which the snowmen are on, and I'm just gonna give you a little spoiler. For the snowmen, I use actual snowmen and shear their heads. It just looks so awesome. And they actually throw snowballs, so it's even more perfect. I started making this ice wall over here, and I will do this teal part later. And then I decided I wanted to do this parkour area down here. And I'm not gonna put any coins or actual stars in here, so sorry about that. And for the icicles, I decided there's no icicles in Minecraft, right? But you know what there is? Dripstone. And dripstone has an awful similar shape of an actual icicle, so I did some thinking. I already tried making a texture pack before, right? So let's make a texture pack here for the icicle. And this time it actually worked. I didn't just give up after one day, and this is what it turned out looking like. I'm pretty proud of myself for this. I think it looks pretty cool. And if you're planning on downloading this map for Bedrock Edition and you want this texture pack, you don't have to worry about it. It's included with the download of the world. And I started making this parkour area over here, blah, 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 blah. Oh, and look, I'm done the parkour area. Nice. And there's this one interesting part about the parkour area. I tried using some cyan banners, some end rods, and some ancient city crystals on invisible item frames, but that's why I made the icicle pack. Just look, it looks so ugly. What is this? Also, I just noticed, look, the color of the prismarine changes over time. It goes like, it just cycles back and forth. Like, what? And then I started making this part over here while messaging my friend. I had some trouble, but I eventually did it. And then I decided to do the worst and most boring part. This giant open field up here. It's so boring to make this part. It's just snow, 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 wall, wall, wall. Fix this angle. It's not fun. The most fun part is the details. And then I started making this curve on the ceiling on the path to the parkour area. A lot of stuff there, so I don't want to bore you with that. So here's just me doing it really fast. And for the rope, I decided to use some sandstone blocks. I tried using slabs, but it looked really ugly. For the island, I used some snow and some weathered copper. That's basically what this entire build is. Weathered copper, prismarine, snow block, and blue ice. And mangrove, a little bit of mangrove. And then I started with the base of the ice slide over here and a prismarine wall. I made this prismarine platform that connects the mangrove bridge to the dark oak bridge. Made some terrain here to connect from the platform to the banana. And I made this long platform right here that connects the two ice slides. Did a lot of boring prismarine walls and terrain and everything, blah blah blah, so let's just skip all that. I know the normal bridge is 3 blocks wide, but because it's turning a lot, it looks very ugly. I had to make it sometimes 5 blocks wide, most of the time 4 blocks wide, but it still looked good. And then one part of this map that really sticks out is this thing right here. This pointy edge for no good reason. So I didn't make it as pointy, but it still has a good resemblance. I made this part where these two snow slides connect into this little meetup hub or whatever. Did some more boring prismarine, terrain, snow, weathered copper, blah blah blah. This is what it looks like now. And then I started working on the snow slide some more. And then started making this bridge snow slide part right here with the oak fences, and it's not connected to the actual mountain. It's its own independent bridge, so I made that. I started making this terrain right here, but I will later change it because I have no idea what I'm doing. And then a week later, after I just gave up, but I knew I was going to do it again sometime, I'm like, okay, let's get this done. I want to put this on YouTube as soon as possible. Let's do it. And then I was on my hardest grind. Plus, I don't want to waste any more footage because I was at really low storage, just sitting in the menu. So, might run out of storage before I can finish it. But, spoiler alert, I never ran out of storage because I didn't spend 3 hours just sitting on the menu. I started building the basic layout for the top, and then I started making the second part of the ice slide. This was the hardest ice slide by far because look what happens here. Like, what happens here? And then from here to here, I made what it would look like for the giant peak at the top, which is sad because you can't go to the actual top of the mountain, so you can never say I summited Cocoa Mountain. Started making some more of the ice slide, doing some more weathered copper, prismarine. I'm just gonna shut up about that now. I'll only tell you about the interesting parts. And then I decided I want to take a break from this prismarine and weathered copper thing. Sorry for talking about it again. I just had to. But I still wanted to be productive with this recreation. So I got rid of all the grass, dirt, and bedrock. So for the end product, it looks like the actual level where there's no grass field. So basically what I did, I just used fill commands and filled it with air. And I did this for a couple hundred blocks away from the actual recreation. And then I just turned my render distance down at the end so you can't see the grass in the distance. I spent a while on that. I had some problems, and I don't know what happened here. Grass just appeared on the top. When I went near it, it disappeared. And then I was done with that grass area, so I wanted to do the bottom of the build, and I don't want you to be able to see that it's hollow underneath. So I was planning on filling most of it with weathered copper, but in the end I ended up doing it with ice, because I connected this ice slide over here to this tiny ice part, which created this. And it's pretty dark down there. I'm going to light it up later in the video when I light up the entire map. Don't want to bore you with more of the bottom making, so let's finish this build at the top. Well, the basic layout, not the details though. Not the details. Stick around for that. For this part right here, obviously I used mangrove again. Added some more of these weird smooth stone splotches for some reason. And then I was finished the basic layout. I finally did it, but I now need to do the details. And in the 3D model, there's no actual details, so I had to look at the video I recorded for reference. For the house, I used some bricks, obviously, and then I used some icicles on the side, some windows, a mangrove door. And for the little baby penguin on top, I couldn't decide what to do because I have such a small space to make such a detailed penguin. So I settled on the cutest thing I could do. Blue concrete with an invisible iframe with yellow concrete. Like the Chain Chomp and King Babam from the other video, I had a lot of trouble making this. It looked very ugly in the end, but it's the best I could do. For the trees, I used some spruce trees, but I replaced the spruce log with strip birch log because that's the actual color of the tree. And then for this enemy right here, I decided on using some lime glazed terracotta for its bottom. And for the head, I used snow. I didn't know what I was going to do for the face, but for the hat or the hair or flower, whatever, I had the perfect idea. The spore blossom, because it looks identical, right? Pink petals with a yellow inside. But it can only be put on ceilings, which is so sad and depressing because it's perfect. So I just had to decide on purple slab. I know it's so ugly, but so if you know any way to flip that flower upside down, please tell me. But I'm on Bedrock Edition, remember that, so I cannot use a debug stick. I will delete any comment about a debug stick. So, snowman, I already spoiled it, but look, it's cute. For the lift right here, I used some red nether bricks for this wheel part. And for the actual thing, I used some dark oak fences with some dark oak planks. And you see this little splash of teal or green right here? I decided to use some warped fences. A little splash of that. And then for the floating island, I use a jungle sign, and of course I typed random stuff. I put another tree, and for the pink bobbum, I used some pink concrete and a brown candle. I worked some more on the trees, and for this part right here, I used some green glazed terracotta, and then I just used the 2x2 snow blocks. For the question mark block right here, I used some yellow concrete and put some exclamation marks on a birch sign. I added some more of these pink guy. What are these dudes' names? They're just so random. Let me search it up. Spindrift, that's its name. Yeah, this is what it's called. I made some more of the spindrifts, and for the face, I used some red nether brick stairs and turned it upside down for its, like, mad face, kind of. I made the house at the top, and for the chimney, like I said, I'm not gonna do the slide. I just put some black concrete there. That one piece of black concrete there represents every mistake I've made in my entire life. I added some more signs, added the snow part right here, some more trees, and then for the head of the headless snowman, I put 2 black buttons, and I put a little smile right there. It looks so cute. I decided to put some observers on the side for the creepy faces on the headless snowman. So after placing the last sign, I was done. Here's Cool Mountain, recreated in Minecraft. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Oh, and because it's Cool Mountain, I just want to do one more thing.